Members, the first bill up is House File 718 by Representative Vang, City Adoption of Pesticide Control Authorized. We have targeted about till 1:30 for this bill. I will move that House File 718 be recommended to be re-referred to the Agriculture and Finance Policy Committee. Representative Vang also has an author's amendment. I will move the A21-0034 amendment. Representative Vang, can you please explain your amendment?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This amendment is pretty simple. It just adds the Metropolitan Mosquito Control District to the exemption of the bill.
Is there any discussion on the amendment, on the author's amendment? All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it. The amendment is adopted. Representative Vang, to your bill as amended.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members of the committee. House File 718 is a bill that reflects what Minnesotans want when we think about our outdoors, fresh air, fresh smells, beautiful scenery. And although this doesn't come to mind immediately, but requires it chemical-free. So this bill adds a narrow exception that if a city passes an ordinance, it can tell its residents that they cannot use the pesticides that are on a list maintained by the Department of Agriculture. As Minnesotans, we pride ourselves in our outdoors as the land of 10,000 lakes. Our deers, birds, and fish are all part of who we are. This bill will help migrating birds. About 74% of bird species in North America rely on farm-built habitat, has suffered population decline since 1966. Science tells us that migrating songbirds exposed to very small amounts of neonicotinoid pesticides will have weight loss and migration delays. Both reduce their chance of surviving. This bill will help fish. Science also tells us that neonics have had a widespread negative impact on aquatic insects and invertebrates. Both are for food for fish. This bill will also help deer. Recent science tells us that neonics are a likely cause of birth defects in deer and are found in spleens and reproductive organs of deer. And this bill will help mayflies. They are particularly susceptible to neonics. Since 2012, mayfly populations have declined by 52% in the northern Mississippi River Basin. Mayflies are, of course, food for a wide variety of species, from freshwater fish to birds and bats. And one more thing, LCCMR funded a butterfly survey to see how they are doing in Minnesota. Of the 13 native butterflies surveyed, they could not find 7 of the native butterflies on sites. So I hope you will vote for this bill that provides a safe place for bees and butterflies and pollinators and all sorts of other critters that make our great outdoors place we want it to be. And with that, Mr. Chair, I do have testifiers here today who would like to speak in support of the bill.
Thank you, Representative Vang. Chris Cowan, Pesticide Action Network.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. You can hear me okay?
Yes, proceed. State your name and who you're with for the record.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chair and members, for allowing me to speak today. My name is Chris Cowan, and I'm speaking today on behalf of the Pesticide Action Network. The language this bill is impacting has been around since 1987. And what has changed since then? Well, the answer is a lot. The introduction of neonicotinoids is just one example. In 1987, they hardly existed. Neonics are now, and have been for many years, among the most, if not the most, widely used class of insecticides in the world. This despite the fact that some of the most widely used neonics are banned from use in the European Union. But here in the US, one could say that neonics are found just about everywhere. I'll give a couple examples. In 2015, a study by the American Bird Conservancy and the Harvard-Channis School of Public Health found bird and bee killing insecticides in nearly every food item eaten by the nation's senators, representatives, and others who dine in the cafeterias of the US Congress. Here in Minnesota, surface water monitoring results for 2019 conducted by the Department of Agriculture found the 3 most commonly detected pesticide compounds were detected in 67 to 85% of the samples collected. The MDA monitoring results from 2010 to 2019 indicate that 2 neonics detected in several state rivers and streams approached or exceeded the EPA's updated aquatic life benchmarks for these pesticides. Three of these insecticides are now designated as surface water pesticides of concern by the Commissioner of Agriculture. Meanwhile, insecticide resistance is an ongoing concern. And sometimes the answer is just not another mode of action. Some folks want to get off the insecticide treadmill. Even the chief author of the 1987 language has signed a letter of support for House File 718. Let at least some Minnesotans have the option to choose local control that is enjoyed by all residents of several other states, and let these folks have just a small degree of predictable and easy to manage local control over pesticides. For pesticides, the federal law is the floor, but in Minnesota, pesticide law is a low ceiling, when it too should be the floor. Say yes to good choices and say yes to House File 718. Thank you, Mr. Chair and members.
Thank you. Holly Jenkins, Wilderness in the City.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Yes, proceed and
Thank
state
you,
your name for the record.
I'm Holly Jenkins, Director of Wilderness in the City. We are a nonprofit whose mission is to preserve and enhance natural urban areas for future generations of people and wildlife. And we are also a leading partner in the Legacy of Nature Alliance, which is a recently established coalition of organizations from across the metro striving to improve ecosystems throughout our region. So thank you for the opportunity to comment on House File 718. As you know, our pollinator crisis is a real threat to all of us, and therefore we all need to be part of the solution. Towards that end, we are working to increase pollinator-friendly habitat throughout the Metro Regional Park System, but we are not stopping there. Our backyards, our schoolyards, our soccer fields and city parks, government and other public campuses. There is no limit to the opportunities in our local communities to increase healthy habitat needed to repair the pollinator crises we have created. Additionally, pesticide use can contaminate birds and other wildlife already suffering from such a lack of high quality habitat. Our water, our land, and our food sources are all impacted by pesticide use. This is why the use of pesticides must be more closely monitored throughout our local communities. By allowing our neighborhoods and cities to make educated and thoughtful choices, we will have a healthier environment and healthier lifestyles. But currently we are restricted due to Minnesota's pesticide preemption law. Now consider that our local levels of government regularly make decisions that impact the quality of life in our communities every day, and pesticide use falls into that category. So this is truly about quality of life, and our local governments are best suited to respond to what is best for our communities. That's why I urge you to support House File 718. Thank you.
Thank you. Whitney Place, Minnesota Department of Agriculture.
Mr. Chair, members of the committee, my name is Whitney Place. I serve as Assistant Commissioner at the Minnesota Department of Agriculture. The Department of Agriculture is still evaluating House File 718 as it moves through the committee process. We do have a couple questions about the logistics of implementing this bill as written and how state or city jurisdictions of pesticide regulations will be managed. Here are some considerations that should be made. First, if a city can establish an ordinance, it will be difficult to manage all of the regulatory requirements across the state. So if there are several ordinances passed in several different cities, we'd likely need additional resources to manage that delegation of that authority. Second, this bill doesn't preclude MDA from using our authority, but adds authority to the city for certain chemicals. This could create difficulty if there was a misuse issue in terms of who is in charge of the investigation and how enforcement would be applied according to the ordinances of each city. Finally, there may be cases where a chemical on the pollinator lethal list that is to be managed by our agency would be necessary that are not included in this bill. For example, if there was like a wasp nest or other pest situation in a yard in a city with an ordinance like this. We would also be concerned about limiting the use of pesticides that control our invasive species, most prominently emerald ash borer. In the past, it has been difficult to determine how delegation of any pesticide authority would work, as we have been unable to get definitive answers from the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency. In a situation like this, cities with this enforcement authority may need to develop cooperative agreements with EPA. We are encouraged that we've been recently contacted by the new EPA Region 5 coordinator, and we're hopeful that we'll have a good working relationship with them on pesticide regulations in Minnesota moving forward. We plan to have continued conversations with Representative Vang about this bill and appreciate her attention to this issue. Thank you.
Thank you. Craig Johnson, League of Minnesota Cities.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. Craig Johnson with the League of Minnesota Cities. Very much appreciate Representative Vang bringing this issue forward. The League has looked at this in the past and is supportive of House File 718 and the 821 amendment adopted. We do appreciate that this allows cities whose communities have determined this as a priority to have a way to see that addressed through community action and through the use of their own local controls. We also value the fact that Minnesota's Department of Agriculture will be the one putting together the list of what chemicals are affected, so that cities are not left on their own to determine which ones fall under that category and which ones don't. That would expose cities to a lot of scrutiny, confusion, and potential litigation. So appreciate that the state steps in to fulfill that role. We also do appreciate the need for exceptions like the one created with the 821 amendment, and some of the exception ideas listed by the Department of Agriculture seem to be reasonable things that we can look at as the bill moves forward to make sure that we're appropriately allowing for these compounds to be used where they're necessary for public health, safety, and management of tree disease, for example, with the EAB mentioned, but also still allow cities to prevent the use of these if they feel that the pollinator impacts are too stringent for what they want to see in their communities. So appreciate the time, Mr. Chair and members, and do support House File 718. We'll work with the author and the agency moving forward to address concerns with it.
Thank you. And we also have available for questions Stephen Manweiler with the Metropolitan Mosquito Control District and Darren McBeth. I don't know if they were gonna, maybe they're just on deck in case there are any questions. Representative Lueck.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I guess this is a question for both the Department of Ag and the League of Minnesota Cities. Obviously, nothing's free, so we're talking about the potential for a substantial amount of cost to be borne by someone. And it's not clear to me how the League of Minnesota Cities, for example, or how cities are going to pay for what they're going to be drawing out of the Department of Agriculture. And how are we going to fund the Department of Agriculture, and who should fund the Department of Agriculture for something that would appear to be a very property tax related issue within that local unit of government. So I'd like to hear from both Department of Ag and League of Minnesota Cities as to how do you plan to split the baby on this relative to who's going to pay for what, particularly who's responsible, and how do we deal with that?
Ms. Place, Commissioner? Or Mr. Johnson? Who wants to go first? Mr. Johnson raises his hand, so you're the winner. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Someone has to start responding to the good questions, so I'll take the first shot. So, Mr. Chair, the Department of Agriculture has a responsibility to all the residents of the state of Minnesota. This would be in keeping with the responsibilities they have over pesticides in the state. So we don't feel that cities are asking for any additional attention or support. We are asking for the authority to have a local ordinance. And the state's real main priority here is to come up with the list of which pesticides qualify for that list. Cities still would have to have the ordinance, enact the ordinance, and enforce the ordinance. which is done the same way we enforce any of our ordinances with our local staff, and the city would have to make a determination that they are ready to put those resources into it if they're going to enact such an ordinance.
Mr. Chair,
Representative Vang.
I can speak to a little bit about the cost to the state. Fiscal note was requested and just got done. And what they revealed was that the cost will be minimal and can be absorbed by the Department of Agriculture. The main part of what that cost will be is just maintaining the pesticide list and having staff review those labels. So currently the cost is very minimal.
Representative Lewick, was that answer your question?
Well, I find it hard to, when we the words cost minimal, I would like to see a little more detail on that, and probably going to take a deeper look by the Department of Agriculture, because rarely do we do anything where the costs are minimal. So
I think Commissioner Place may want to help.
yeah, I'd like to hear a little more detail on that.
Mr. Chair and Representative Lewick, thank you for the question. There would be a cost to this, and we have it outlined in the fiscal note, mostly for reviewing of the list. And, I don't think that we would say that the cost could be absorbed by the department. We would certainly have to figure out a funding mechanism to make sure that we could manage this list.
Well, thank you. That puts a point on the basis of my question. The local property tax owners in a municipality have a responsibility to foot the bill for things that they're asking in addition that the rest of the citizens haven't asked for. So yeah, that at least points out that what program you're going to shut down in the Department of Ag to take the money away from and put into this new program, unless somebody comes up with a new way to fund this. So but anyway, yeah, that's got to be explored in great detail. I mean, I've got no issue with making sure we use pesticides and herbicides in a responsible manner, but I want to make sure that we put the responsibility with the unit of the government that is asking for this, and not put it across the entire rest of the state.
Okay, we got a couple other questions. I should note that the statute that allows for the delegation was passed into law in 1987. Representative Heinzman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I'm glad that Commissioner Place is right there. I'm just going to quickly ask, it sounded like there were some concerns that you were mentioning. Well, I'll just be real direct. Does the Department of Agriculture, are you supporting this, Commissioner, or is this as written, or is there changes that we need to be specifically focusing on to make sure that this thing works for the people of Minnesota?
Commissioner Place.
Mr. Chair, Representative Heinzman, as I said, we are looking to continue conversations with the author. I don't think as written, we would support this bill, but we're open to having this discussion and talking about some of our concerns with implementation.
Okay. Representative Becker-Finn.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and hopefully this is a quick answer from the bill author, but just to clarify, this bill is not requiring cities to do any of this. This would be if elected city officials decide that this makes sense for their communities, that they would be able to have this as an option for their cities. Is that accurate?
Representative Vang.
Yes, that's correct.
Representative Becker-Finn.
Quick follow-up. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to make that point. I think that, this wouldn't just be every city across the state instituting this these type of rules for their cities. And I know my city faces problems with emerald ash borer, and I know that making sure that we can still use those products as necessary has been contemplated. And so I appreciate the chief author continuing to work with folks to make sure that the bill does what we all want it to do. So thank you, Mr. Chair.
Representative Green.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Maybe to the bill author or maybe Mr. Johnson too, did the cities actually request this bill?
Representative Vang.
Mr. Chair, and thank you, Representative Green, for the question. This has been worked on through various stakeholders, from the testifiers to, and the cities have grown interest in this bill as well. And perhaps my testifier, Mr. Johnson, can elaborate more on that too.
Mr. Johnson.
Mr. Chair, Representative Green, we did not request that the author introduce this bill or draft this bill. We have supported similar language in the past that was introduced, and the Board of Directors of the League of Minnesota City, on behalf of our members this last year, adopted a policy that specifically supports the concepts of this legislation, which is a little bit rare. We normally have more generalized statements, but this one was actually specified as an authority that a number of cities across the state are interested in having created. So did not ask for the bill to be authored, but we do fully support the bill.
Representative Lee.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And to that point, I just want to say thank you to Representative Vang for bringing this forward. You have definitely heard from the different Minnesotans from across the state and bringing this forward. And Mr. Johnson said it, that we are hearing from our local units of government in support of this, and those are local elected officials. And so I think that this is a great bill, and this allow for those cities that do want to adopt this to really move forward with this. And so I just want to say thank you for bringing it forward.
And members, this is going to the Ag Committee. I want to point out why it's here. This is the Environment Policy and Natural Resources Committee. Representative Vang talked about the environmental impacts of the pollinator lethal insecticides. And she did reference, not only pollinators, but also fish and game and water quality and other wildlife. I know Commissioner Meyer is on the line. I actually have a question for him about research that was done on neonicotinoid pesticides in deer spleens. And I think Representative Vang had referenced a study in South Dakota, but if Commissioner Meyer could please give an update on what happened or what's happening with the DNR study from 2019.
Mr. Chairman, members, Bob Meyer, Assistant Commissioner, Department of Natural Resources. We are still in the process of validating those test results. We look forward to communicating with you soon once those results are validated.
Thank you, Commissioner Meyer. I think it's important to get those results out because I think Minnesotans can handle the results. Getting them out would be important. Representative Heinzman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just one final question. Does the bill author have any idea what kind of volume at which these chemicals are being applied in municipalities around the state? How big of a problem is this? And do you have any data to confirm one way or the other?
Representative Vang.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm assuming the problem you're referencing is the amount of pesticide that's used to harm pollinators and how widespread that is.
That's right. Thank you.
I'm not an expert in that. I hope maybe I can defer to my testifiers who has the expertise or the scientific evidence to say how much of an impact pesticides are hurting pollinators. What I do know is there have been many studies that have shown that pollinators are dying at a rapid rate. I don't have the scientific background to give you a complete answer, and so I will defer that to my testifiers.
Any of the testifiers want to take that?
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Cowan.
Yes, I don't have exact numbers in front of me, but I think it's safe to say in general, and I can get some documentation for Representative Heitzman, but pesticide use cosmetically in residential settings is generally, I guess the word would be more intense, more concentrated than the use in agriculture. Overall, the agricultural use is greater than cosmetic residential use, but it's safe to say that where residential use is employed, that there's more density or more amount per acre.
Representative Heinzman, let me try asking that a different way of the Department of Ag that might be able to help with that. Commissioner Place, the department has a responsibility for evaluating pesticide use. Has the department done any surveys or studies on pesticide use? And would, under the preemption law, would cities be preempted from actually doing a survey or a study on pesticide use?
Mr. Chair, so I think the relevant information that we would be able to answer this question with would be our pesticide sales data. And I do apologize, I don't have that in front of me, but I'm happy to share that with you, Representative Heinzman, and with the committee. In terms of research, no, I don't think our preemption laws preclude any sort of survey or research being done by local governments.
Representative Heinzman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. You know, you and I both serve on the LCCMR, and you know, this might be something for the smart folks out there to take a closer look at and actually get some hard numbers and find out where we're at. We have a lot of research that's looking at ag specifically, and you know, this might be something that would be, you know, important to actually figure out. And maybe that might be, you know, sort of putting the order of this thing in better perspective. If we had an idea how much, that I don't think it precludes the author from bringing the bill. I think it is something that we absolutely have to consider here in the legislature, but it'd be great to have some data to really give us a sense of how big a problem it is and how widespread. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Representative Heinzman. That's a good reminder that all members will get the link out for the request for proposals to encourage people to apply. And it would be also awesome if we could actually pass those two LCCMR bills as well. So Representative Vang, I don't see any other questions. I do want to note there are a number of written testimony. There is a number of written testimony letters that have been posted on the committee website for the committee and for the general public. Representative Vang, would you like to give final comments?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to add that, you know, pollinators need habitat that is free of pesticides and has lots of flowering plants that have food for them. Cities could be that critical habitat. So we have a huge opportunity in Minnesota to save pollinators like the rusty patch bumblebee and others. And our biggest cities are part of the Mississippi Byway. So it's an opportunity for us. And I would like to ask for the committee member support. Thank you.
I will renew my motion that House File 718 as amended be recommended to be re-referred to the Agricultural, Finance, and Policy Committee. The clerk will take the roll.
Hanson Rick.
Hanson Rick, aye.
Hanson I. Wozlowick Amy.
Wozlowick, aye.
Wozlowick I. Heitzman Josh.
Heitzman, aye.
Heitzman I. Acom Patty.
Acom, aye.
Acom I. Ackland Susan.
Ackland, aye.
Ackland I. Backer Jeff.
Backer, no.
Backer no. Becker Finn Jamie.
Aye.
Becker Finn I. Eklund Rob.
Aye.
Eklund I. Fisher Peter.
Fisher, aye.
Fisher I. Green Steve.
No.
Green no. I go Spencer.
I go aye.
I go I. Jordan Sydney.
Jordan, aye.
Jordan I. Keeler Heather.
Keeler, aye.
Keeler I. Lee Fu.
Lee, aye.
Lee I. Lippert Todd.
Lippert, aye.
Lippert I. Lewick Dale.
Lewick, aye.
Lewick I. Morrison Kelly.
Morrison, aye.
Morrison I. Nelson Nathan.
Nelson, aye.
Nelson I. Tice Tama.
Tice, aye.
Tice I. That is 17 ayes and 2 noes.
Congratulations, Representative Vang. You're on your way to the Ag Committee. The motion prevails.